I just stood there in silence. Nobody was here at this point, it was just Alex and I. The only boy I'd loved and the only friend I had left is with the rest of them now. The wind is blowing the leaves, which seem to make a whirlwind around his grave. They are protecting it in a way like no human being ever could. But I'm here left to face the world on my own. I really do love writing. The reason I love writing is because it gives me such a chance to express my thoughts and feelings, and it's like some of the characters you can relate to yourself and stuff, and it's like, and in all these ideas that you have like locked up in your head, you can finally let them out and you can put them on paper.
Laura is a Year 9 pupil at Chiswick Community School in West London. As part of a 6-week unit of work on imaginative writing, she's writing a ghost story. We join Laura in a lesson on plot, character and setting, and follow her writing journey over a period of 1 week.
Just a kind of initial planning exercise to help you to formulate some of your ideas. So you've got 5 minutes to think about a possible plot, to think about possible characters, and to think about where you would like to set this ghost story.
I like it so far.
I would like to take some feedback, just some initial feedback, to think about, to hear some of the varied plots, characters, settings that you've decided on.
My one is about 4 friends, Alex, Sam, Grace and Tom, and a young girl called Sally who has no family and is a little bit mad. And the 4 friends have just graduated from high school, and they were going to their after graduate party, which is in New York, and their car breaks down, and they go into the woods and they see this house. So they ask the lady if they can use their phone, which is the same age as them, but then she starts being a bit weird, and then the accident happens and they think they killed her, but they haven't, and then she comes back to seek revenge.
So you're actually going to make your plan. Perhaps do a circle here and think about what you're going to write. This is what you are going to do tonight. You are finishing your plan and you are writing the opening paragraph only. The opening paragraph has to hook and grab the reader. Think about your sentence structure, think about your vocabulary choices, and think about crafting your piece of writing. I look forward to hearing the opening paragraphs next lesson.
The reason I like writing fiction stories is because you can make a story from being really scary to really funny and stuff. You can change it. You can always have an idea for a good story. A week goes by. They think they killed Sally. It might seem like I'm writing the actual story, but the reason I do it this way is to get the main points down on paper, so that way I won't forget them. What character? Tom gets what does she get? A letter. A letter. Which is unsigned. It is a death letter. A lot of times there's a phrase or a sentence that you think would work really well in the story, and if I don't put it down, I'm most likely to forget it. It was wearing black. Paragraph 6. My original title was All Good Things Must Come to an End, but I thought really not all good things come to an end. You pretty much they don't have to, But it's just, I thought if it's all good things come to an end, I think it could really reflect with the story. And the reason that I came up with it after the plan was because the whole plan was about 4 friends having a really good time and then everything just going wrong and then their lives are like torn apart. So I thought that'd be really good to like go with the story. I was happy with the first sentence because I thought that it was quite a gripping sentence. But it's just, I thought the main plot of the first paragraph just wasn't really good because you already knew what was going to happen at the end. So what's the point of reading the whole story if you already know what's going to happen at the end?
Excellent, okay. And the idea, I just stood there in silence. Nobody was here at this point. It was just me and Alex. It's a really gripping opening sentence because as I'm the reader here of your story and I want to know who Alex is, who you are, why there's silence, why is nobody there, and it wants me to read on. So the next part, the only boy I loved and the only friend I had left with the rest of them now. And the wind is blowing, the leaves which seem to make a whirlwind around his grave. So you're starting at the end of the narrative, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then that's an interesting technique. And so your opening sentence here, it all started 1 year ago. Me and Alex and Tom and Grace were just cruising down the streets of New York on our way to a party at some mates to celebrate our graduation.
It literally, within the space of this paragraph, it all went from being really good and having the music up and having a really good time to being a big problem. How you're going to get out of this area. And of course, you've got the woods there as well, which makes the setting sort of scary as well. So it makes you want to read on and see what actually happens next. I think dialogue is more effective than just writing with no dialogue at all, because I think it's really good in the story for the characters communicate with each other. And there's a part where there was a bang occurred. Suddenly, this massive bang occurred, which was so loud it echoed through the trees. The car came to an abrupt halt. Tom, what did you do? Oh God, guys. Oh no. What's wrong, Tom? The car is broken down. When Tom says, oh God, oh no, it sort of makes you go, oh my God, what's happened? Right. We all took one look into those bone-chilling woods and tried to find a different way to get home, but there was no other way. So we set off into the woods looking for help. We stuck to each other like glue sticks to paper. The thing was, when I planned it, I didn't really plan any of the description that I was going to put in about the area. I just simply put, it was in the woods and they meet this murderer lady and all this. There was a strong smell of rotten leaves and the ground was covered in broken branches. The wind blew the trees, which seemed to make them attack us like wild dogs attack their prey. When I started to write it down, I realised, oh, this is going to be really, really long. So I decided to put it into 2 paragraphs, and hopefully that way the paragraphs won't be as long.
She made a shiver go up all of our spines. It's excellent. Really, I mean, obviously, you really have tapped into different sources, and you've obviously been quite inspired from somewhere to write this.
I think when you read, you get ideas. It's like sometimes when you're reading and you're thinking, oh, you get a picture of what the characters are like in your head, and then you're like, oh, this would be a really nice setting and stuff. And I think you can sort of reflect back on other books and stuff. We must have been walking for about 15 minutes, but it seemed like a lifetime. Finally, we reached an old house, which was the source of the light. Standing at the doorway was a young girl, no older than us. Films give me ideas, because I think when you look at films, you can actually see what is happening. But when you look in a book, you have to make this picture in your head, and sometimes it's not exactly accurate. So I went home and I looked at scary films and stuff, and it gave me some ideas. Some of the films had maybe some characters, and maybe I've reflected some of the characters. The girl was strange. There was something about her that wasn't right. Sally is an 18-year-old girl and she's a bit psycho, and she's killed her parents and her sister. And basically what they do is that their car's broken down and they look into the woods and they see a light, and they go to her to ask for the phone, to use the phone, but she starts acting really odd with them.
In the central part of Laura's story, there's a struggle and the house burns down. The friends run away, and thinking that Sally has died in the fire, they decide not to tell anyone. Over the following weeks, each of the narrator's friends receives a death letter and they die one by one.
I made a big change in my last paragraph, and the reason was when I read it in class, it was really dull because it had like not much description in it. The only bit of feeling that I said in this was that she felt that her heart was empty and it was broken.
So I am going to ask some people to come up to the front with their stories.
I start college in a week's time, but I will go there with my heart empty and broken. I placed the flowers in each of their graves. In some way it felt like they were all protecting me from harm. I got in the car and started to drive down the road. It started to rain. The raindrops crashed down hard on the windscreen. When I went on the computer, I added like more description, and when she was driving home she turned on the radio and the song that played on the night that they met Sally, the murderer, came on, and she started crying that her eyes are bloodshot and then she couldn't seem to get the key in the door. The first song finished and the next one came on. It was our favourite song, the song that was played on the night we met the bloodthirsty girl that took my friends' lives away. It started to rain. The raindrops crashed down so hard on the windscreen, it was like they wouldn't give up till the glass shattered into tiny little pieces. Finally I got home. I got out of the car and wiped the tears from my bloodshot eyes and opened the door. I thought it was better now than it was in class because I had more time to sort of reflect back over it. I think the plan itself was most useful for writing the story, because when I put all my ideas down in the plan, I put them all down like in separate paragraphs, so I knew what the basis is, what's going to happen in paragraph. And even though I didn't like refer to it as much as like I probably would have if I just like you know copied the story down pretty much from the plan, it still helped me there, because then like main points that I put down, like the first paragraph was set in a graveyard. If I forgot that, then the story probably would have like been totally different. All the ideas that I wanted to put into my story, I think I've been put in, and like I said that I wanted to put a cliffhanger on the ending, and that was one of my most important parts. I just wanted a cliffhanger to the ending, and so I've put that in now, and reading through it I think there's not that much more that I could do to it.
In the final paragraph, Sam, the narrator, returns from her boyfriend's funeral to find a letter addressed to herself.
There it was, the last of the 4 letters, the one I thought would never come. As you thought, I lay there dead, with a bullet in my head. But you made one big mistake, and I am an extremely good fake. Now I decide if you should pay, will I kill you in one day?
Right, okay, so absolute cliffhanger. We are left with that kind of really high point of suspense, real high point of tension.
I'm really glad that I did it in first person, because she was the only one really that survived. I think if you see her looking back on her experience, and I think you get more you'll get more involved in the story because you're more like personal with the character, and you know, because even though you don't know her background and stuff, and you don't know what really she looks like, you know her thoughts and feelings, and I think that's really important in the story. Lots of the other things I don't really enjoy, but writing I do enjoy, and that's why I put so much effort in it. That's why I think I spend so much time in it, and I even do when I'm not meant to do. I just do it anyway, because it's just something that I don't know. It's like pleasure. It's something that gives me comfort and stuff. Just writing.
For Laura's whole story, plus comments from a writing expert, visit teachers.tv.